If he were to release that memo, he would not only be endangering our country, but he would also be violating the rules of the Congress of the United States.
The release of this memo is really reminiscent of the darkest days of the McCarthy era.
There is zero proof or even evidence that there is political bias in the FBI. But if you say it long enough and often enough, there will be people who have doubts about it. And it's a profoundly unpatriotic thing to do.
You're not patriotic if you want your questions answered. Democrats are lashing out. That's not even strong enough. Something profound is happening here. But they're very upset by the release of the FBI memo. Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi said President Trump, quote, just sent his friend Putin a bouquet. Many have said similar intemperate things, including Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California, who joins us tonight. So, Congressman, many Democrats, including Democratic leaders, Pelosi and Schiff, to name two, said before this was released that its release would jeopardize American national security. That turned out to be a lie, provably, because there's nothing in this that was classified. In fact, there's no obvious reason it was classified in the first place. So why would they tell us that when they knew it wasn't true?
Good evening, Tucker. You should be concerned about this, too. It does reveal sources. You should read the memo. Just because you knew the sources beforehand because they were reported on doesn't mean we acknowledge them in ongoing investigations.
So please be precise about how please be precise about how it jeopardizes our national security, because a lot of us are concerned about doing that, and I would never want to play any role in doing that. And that's why it's such a serious charge. And that's why when you make it, you have to back it up.
You're playing a role in doing that right now.
Well, tell me how.
You're playing a role because we don't acknowledge sources in ongoing investigations.
What source are you talking about, and how does that imperil our country?
Well, the memo goes into Papadopoulos and Page and others that you only knew about because they were reported on, not because they were
I knew about because Papadopoulos was indicted, and the memo came out today. So just explain to me how you just accused me. I think it's fair to ask you to be very precise in explaining how I'm doing that. So please do.
The larger danger that you're doing, and
not the
others
larger
are doing,
danger. You just accused me. Slow down.
You're
you just
using
accused
the police
I'm not going to let you go on this. I'm not going to let you go.
Yeah.
You just
you
got two choices. You can either apologize and take it back, or you can explain it. I think it's fair to ask you to explain what you meant when you said I was.
Yeah.
How does that jeopardize our country's security?
Because we don't reveal the sources in ongoing investigations. Tucker, right now in every police station in America, let me finish, Tucker. In every police station in America, the police are interviewing a suspect, and you're suggesting that we should give the suspect the evidence before we ask them the questions.
Who's the
suspect? This is about the rule of law.
We're trampling
over the rule of law in this country.
But
they gave the White House evidence in the Russia investigation.
So
the White House are subjects of the Russian.
I'm talking about me. Hold on. I'm talking about me as an American citizen who got a chance to read this much talked about memo today, and I listened to people like you tell me, and now explicitly tell me, that I'm hurting our country by reading it. And I want to know how I'm doing.
You're also hurting our country by not acknowledging the rule of law has been run over. They're using the police to attack their enemies.
I'm sorry. One death penalty offense at a time here. One serious crime at a time. So I don't understand. You don't have an answer, which is why you're not answering my question. But I would
gave you a bunch of answers,
not
Tucker.
make it. No, I have literally no idea what you're talking about.
That's the problem.
Then why don't you try this one?
You don't like the answer.
We know from this that Carter Page 4 times was described by the Department of Justice, by the FBI, as an agent of a foreign power, Russia. 4 times. So the question to
you is... And in 2013 as well.
He was not accused of that in 2013. He was surveilled.
Actually, he acknowledged to our committee.
Unless you're revealing something that has not been revealed before. But
I'm revealing something you should have read, which was his testimony to our committee, where he acknowledged he was person A in the indictment in 2013, where he was suspected of being a Russian foreign agent.
Oh, but I don't think he was accused of it. Let me ask you this, though. Do you think he was? Do you think? Okay, fine. Do you think, since the DOJ accused him of that before a FISA court, do you believe it? Is he a foreign agent? Simple question. What do you think?
He was under suspicion. It's an ongoing investigation that's not closed. That's the problem, Tucker.
But
it's
do you
still
think
open,
he is? No, but do you want us to
think
he's a foreign
to comment
agent?
on it? It's open. It's still an open investigation.
I think you're entitled to your opinion under the Constitution.
Them in real time.
If you're going to impugn the man's character, as you relentlessly have, suggesting that he's betraying his country, committing treason, I think it's fair to ask you, man to man, an honest question, a straightforward one with no innuendo. Do you think he's betraying his country?
I think you're not allowing the FBI to answer that question with what you and others are doing to undermine their work.
You've got to be kidding. All I want is for my questions to be answered. I sit here, an open, willing repository for all information, including your memo, including the documents that supported this memo, including the testimony.
So you support our memo coming out? I want to be clear.
Of course I do. Are you kidding?
Support our memo coming out?
Of course I do. Absolutely I do. I support
we should talk about it next week.
That gets to the truth.
Invite me back.
What I don't support
I'll be in Washington.
what I don't support is making reckless allegations about other Americans that you cannot support, as when you said I was harming our country's national security, and as when you suggested Carter Page was betraying this nation. And I want to know.
You're peddling a narrative that undermines the rule of law. I'm not peddling a narrative. I'm asking a question. You just said on my air, on my show, you're imperiling our national security. I said, oh, really, Congressman? How am I doing that? Am I going to be arrested for that? Because, I don't know, it seems like the kind of thing a man could be arrested for. Yeah, these are important times in our history. Either you are supporting those that are undermining the independence of the Department of Justice and the rule of law, or you're standing firm and saying this is wrong. Tucker, I wish you were on my side because I think you know better. I'm
not sure what the hell you're talking about. I only wish
I think you don't like what I'm talking about.
Well, I definitely don't like what you're talking about, but more profoundly, I don't understand it. And when you accuse someone of committing a crime for which people are arrested, why don't you game it out for me? Tell me one thing that I have said that you think makes all Americans, including my children, less safe.
You continue to support the idea that we should give suspects in criminal cases the evidence against them before we ask them any questions. Well, you also believe that there's nothing wrong.
I don't support that. I do think we should give them the benefit of the doubt, as the Constitution requires us to. Call me a liberal. When have I said that I think that we should give evidence to? I'm not even sure what that means. By the way, I think people charged in a criminal case have the right to the evidence against them, don't they?
Do you think?
Wait,
well, not
are you
aware
of that?
Not when they're being questioned, Tucker. Yeah, Tucker, not when they're being questioned, not when they're under suspicion. Do you think it's a problem that the White House was sent evidence in the Russia investigation? Do you think it's a problem that they were sent evidence in the Russia investigation when they are subjects of the investigation? You don't see a conflict there?
What in the no?
Donald Trump and
maybe
Don,
I would.
Don
but
McGahn.
in the case of today's memo, what specifically have I espoused that empowers threats to our country?
You're peddling the narrative that the Trump administration is putting out, which also is the Putin narrative, because they're retweeting this with their Russian bots. If you're on the same side as WikiLeaks and Putin,
I wonder, do you perceive
if you're on the same side as WikiLeaks and Putin, you should take a step back and wonder, whose bidding are you really doing?
I don't even know what to say. I don't want to explode on TV, so I'm just going to end the segment now. Let the record reflect
you've accused me
of working for a hostile foreign government. We'll be back soon. It's me.